When you feel the need to move extremely quickly, then few boots get the job done quite like the PUMA evoSPEED. Whilst the first edition of the evoSPEED's slick upper was a little bit lacking in the control stakes, the evoSPEED 1.2 fixed almost every complaint with PUMA's now signature speed boots. As we move into the new season, the PUMA evoSPEED 1.3 looks to fine-tune that formula once again to create the perfect cleat for speed merchants like Marco Reus, Sergio Aguero and Radamel Falcao. Thanks to some minor facelifting in the looks department, PUMA have once again created a boot that really has that fast aesthetic down. The low-cut ankle and central lacing system combined with the sleek branding and silhouette for a boot that really looks fast without making the boot inaccessible to people who prefer a more traditional fit. And in spite of that similar look at first glance, PUMA have equipped the evoSPEED 1.3 with some new features. Notably, the upper is now a monolayer synthetic fibre, which PUMA say is lighter than the last model. This new material lacks the leather-like finish of the 1.2's upper, but it is distinctly thinner and not completely without a texture of its own. Finishing that is the new Griptex finish, sporting a new, more angular layout. This again follows the trend in the upper of lacking a three-dimensional tactile feel of the 1.2. However, PUMA say that this new Griptex is mostly for wet weather conditions. When players ask us for a football boot that works really well with average to narrow foot shapes, one of our first recommendations is the evoSPEED, and fans of the boot's streamlined shape can breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that the 1.3 is again great for the slimmer foot. A big part of this is down to the central lacing system, which provides just the right amount of depth down the foot to allow for a really adjustable fit when pulling the boot snug in the midfoot. The midfoot also plays host to the new external version of the EverFit cage, a mainstay of the evoSPEED line. PUMA have shifted it to the outside of the boot here on the 1.3 for a number of reasons. Most practically, this new system allows the boot to adjust more with the player's desire for fit. Rather than having the lacing system separate from the EverFit cage as on the 1.2, the two are intrinsically linked here on the 1.3 for a more symbiotic relationship. PUMA also say that this locks the foot closer to the footbed of the boot, enhancing agility via reducing wasted energy. We've seen similar concepts on the Adidas Nitro Charge and the Mizuno Basara recently, so it makes a lot of sense for PUMA to want to enhance this feature on the new model of their latest speed boots. The sole plate will seem much more familiar territory to the fans of the evoSPEED line. The 1.3 retains the DuoFlex forefoot system for agility where it matters most, allowing for swift changes of direction when planting the toes and forefoot. The same material that makes up the studs also runs up the entirety of the sole plate as a single piece, culminating in an external heel counter. Now, this is something of a rarity on speed boots these days, but we've absolutely no doubt that some players will see the value that this added reinforcement provides at the base of the Achilles. PUMA have once again made the studs on the new evoSPEED even more conical, a decision likely enforced by player feedback, given the amount of professional players who used to wear bespoke versions of the boot with a PUMA King sole plate. Speaking of reinforcement, the speed track system returns from the evoSPEED 1.2, keeping the midfoot and heel locked in with the direction of the boot, creating a more responsive platform for quick turns and an arrow-straight footbed when sprinting flat out. In our opinion, PUMA have brought just enough to the evoSPEED 1.3 to offer a worthy update to the 1.2. However, there is an air of if it ain't broke, don't fix it feel to some of the more visible aspects and prominent features of the boot. We'd love to hear what you think of this redesign, and we'll have a review to follow within the coming weeks to tell you how it performs. But until then, you can keep up with Footy-Boots.com as well as our social channels on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Google+, to keep up with the latest news, hottest releases and independent reviews.